That being said, I have this deck that I was working on last night. I know I've been kind of saying... So on Tuesday, we had the Kiki Jiki FOMO Jolted Awake deck. And Jolted Awake was really, really impressive in that shell. And I had said that I was kind of looking for other good shells for Jolted Awake. It's a card that we haven't explored too much. And I think Jolted Awake and Goblin Engineer are kind of a natural pair, where you get to either Jolted Awake, get back your Goblin Engineer, or put something into the yard that you can buy back with Jolted Awake if your Goblin Engineer dies. And so I was looking at... like what can we get back? What can we get back? And I was feeling kind of stuck. I was looking at like sorry, the record thing. I was looking at like Sword, Sacred Foundry. I was looking at like being more of like a Ensnaring Bridge, Crucible of Worlds, like prison deck, and all of that kind of sucked. And I was just kind of going through old lists, and then I actually like updated the mono white Collector's Cage deck a little bit. Was playing with it and having some success. And I'm like, wait. What if we Goblin Engineer for Collector's Cage? And not only can you Goblin Engineer for Collector's Cage, you could just keep doing it over and over again. So something that I found to be like really awesome about this shell is just the ability to like sack Collector's Cage, get back another Collector's Cage over and over and over again until you eventually find your Emrakul. Your ability to like dig for an Emrakul off your Collector's Cages is like really, really nice, where you are just going so deep. And what's cool about this too is it's like, so in the mono white Collector's Cage deck, you kind of have to play Windbrisk Heights for redundancy to your combo. It kind of sucks to play Windbrisk Heights in a very low mana curve deck that you really want to be fast. Having a bunch of tap land sucks. And so having your redundancy in Goblin Engineer and to a lesser extent Jolted Awake is really good. And splashing red in general is really, really nice because you get to play Epicure, which lets you loot away your Emrakuls, which is something you just don't have. Epicure is really the best option. Epicure also red permanent for Ajani, also gives you an artifact for Goblin Engineer, just kind of does everything in the stack, but it's very difficult to play in the other build. And so this deck has been really nice so far in playtesting. We're only playing one Arena of Glory. So one big part of like this like initial thought is like you could haste your Goblin Engineer with Arena of Glory. The thing is you have to play 4 Emeria's Calls in this deck. You have to have like this as like your other big hit off Collector's Cage. So it's kind of tough to play mini Arena of Glories in the shell, especially with so many white 1-drops. We're playing 1 at the moment. Esper Sentinel has also been a card I have been liking. I was playing it in the mono white Collector's Cage deck and it was really good. And so whatever you play in this spot, it has to be an artifact for Goblin Engineer. I think that we're like a little short on our artifact count without the Esper Sentinels. We have the Epicures, the Sentinels, and the Ornithopters, and to a lesser extent we have Jolted Awake, and to a lesser extent we have other Collector's Cages, but we need more artifacts to sack the Engineer. I think 12 is kind of like the minimum. Or 12 good ones. And I think Sentinel's the best option. You can pump it with Guide of Souls, you can pump it with Collector's Cage. There are some Bowmasters in the format, but Bowmasters is still already kind of good against you, and overall Sentinel's been drawing me some cards. So I've been into it. So let's I had a Dragon Engine and I hated having the Dragon Engine. It's like we already have 4 Emrakuls in the deck as like bricks, and like I was basically never tutoring for it. It was like I was like every single time, even when it would be good, I would just get a Collector's Cage. Like Dragon Engine drawing 3 cards can be kind of nice. This can cast an Emrakul or an Emeria's Call. This is your value card. You're gonna mulligan our 7. We're on to play here. Another 1-lander. This is probably gonna be a keep for me, especially with double Sentinel to maybe draw some cards. I'm going to lead on a Sentinel here. But what about Boros? I don't know what we're talking about anymore. Thanks, Bound Splash, for the 25 months. Imbrued with Enduring Innocence and Norad, and maybe Guide of Souls. So this is kind of one problem with brewing dirtily Boros decks in Modern. There's already a very, very good Boros deck that plays Guide of Souls. Enduring Innocence plus Norn is pretty cool. But you just play the freaking Wandering in the deck. It's so frustrating. What matches the battle for? I've been bringing it against Jeskai and some combo decks. I think it's a better anti-sweeper card than you would expect it to be, or at least I've been liking a lot. Okay, I'm going to attack for 1, and then I think I'm just going to play my Collector's Cage. I can activate it next turn. Gang, to the 22 months. Thank you so much. Welcome back. Oh, one Emrakul, the Aeons Torn, please. So up against Mardu. Mardu's been more popular. I'm not sure what happened. Seems like it's just kind of bad against Boros, right? So they have their Bowmaster. So if we draw a land or an Ornithopter, we can cast an Emrakul here. I was just trying to think to myself, does any land let us cast? Does any land let us cast Emrakul? I was like, I think so. I did forget about that one, I guess. Maybe I should have played Sentinel and put a counter on it. It might have been better. Challenge starts in like 50 minutes still. Definitely the wrong invasion. Wait. Oh no, this is the wrong one. Sorry, this is supposed to be the one that looks at their hand. I swear I had the other one in my. Maybe I had it in the other list, so I typed it in. I know I cast it in the mono white list last night. Yeah, that's not the right one. I don't know how it got in there. Yeah, Gobakhan. Alright, we'll put that in there for now. I'll get the Mox Field right. Yes, there are only we have 20 lands total. 2 of them don't tap for white. Here are both of them here. No Jagetta, we have Emeria's Call. You should have Gobakhan, sick name. Ageless the 9 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. Yeah, this will be an inevitable 5-0. And everybody like, whoa, why is that invasion of Theros here? Wrong invasion. All right, after about a minute, my Ornithopter resolves. What do you think about War of Invention right now? Haven't seen you played any decks with it in a while. Okay, War of Invention, for the most part, has been completely unplayable in the history of Modern. There have been some small exceptions to this rule, and very recently, I think the War of Invention builds of Mono Blue Belcher are viable. You can play the Mono Blue Belcher, but for the most part, it is not a good card to play, and has basically never been a good card. Okay, we get to cast an Emrakul. It has basically never been a good card, so I wouldn't, sweat it too much. So like to say you haven't seen me play any decks with it in a while, like it is like kind of weirdly uniquely okay right now because of one specific new deck. I guess if they somehow had a spell to trigger the Sentinel, that could be kind of bad. I'll just play an Engineer. Rip War Prison. I guess. I mean, like, War Prison was a deck 5 years ago. That was, like, pretty fringe. But sure. But, like, War is it's so much worse than Court of Calling. Like, you have to pay 3 blue mana every single time. All right, I cast an Emrakul the Aeons Torn. I played the Boros matchup, like the regular Boros energy matchup once in my league yesterday with this, and it seemed like we were pretty favored in the mirror. And I don't know, I don't want to, it's just one match, one time, but being able to do this seems like a good way to kind of break mirror dynamics. War with stock in Lantern and KCI when those are winning tournaments. I think you were wrong about KCI. I feel somewhat confident that KCI was like a green-based Ancient Stirrings deck and was not a Whir deck. I think that Lantern has sometimes played Whir, but also I don't think that Whir was ever stock in Lantern either, if I'm going to be quite honest. I might be wrong about that. I think there was like a Whir Prison deck, but that was different from Lantern. Vindicated with the 52 months. Welcome back. Appreciate you. Okay, my opponent has let the Emrakul resolve. Now we're going to combat. I fucking hate Arena, like the client Arena of Glory. It's here for Goblin Engineer because this is it's something we're testing out. It could be incorrect to play. It was pretty bad this game. Yeah, well, one cool thing I was doing yesterday is you can activate Collector's Cage and you can sacrifice Collector's Cage to Goblin Engineer in response to your activation. Get Ornithopter back into play. or potentially another Collector's Cage or Sentinel. And then if you meet the Collector's Cage requirement, you still get to cast the Exile card, even if Collector's Cage is gone. So that was a kind of interesting dynamic. Okay, this is the wrong card. I'm going to bring in the Sanctifiers. Still not exactly sure. I wanted to go down like the one Ornithopter in this matchup. The Sentinels are like okay. They're kind of bad against Bowmasters. I think we'll probably go down 2 Sentinels. I'm a little bit worried about artifact count, but it'll probably be okay. It's possible Ocelot Pride is better to go down than Sentinel. Let's do 3 Sentinel, 3 Ocelot Pride, and just try to vibe it out. Of course, still figuring out sideboard plans. You can also maybe cut it Emrakul, but I'm not sure. Oh, the app. I'm salty how much I've gotten fucked by coding today. I see. I know. I mean, I'm not the biggest Arena fan either. I'll tell you that. What do you think about FOMO in this deck to discard our Emrakuls? I think that's an interesting idea. So if you're discarding Emrakul, you're not going to have Delirium very easily, right? Since you're going to be shuffling your graveyard. It seems kind of high on the curve, especially when Engineer is like kind of a slower card already. But I do kind of generally like the direction that's in, and that's something we could explore for sure. Yeah, but yesterday I was playing the Boros matchup. I just got to a point where I was just digging so deep with my Engineers. It was pretty cool. Not sure how different the Mardu matchup is going to be. Arena will freeze after you start. You can't sideboard anymore. Yeah, I remember the first Arena PT I played was like that. It was the worst competitive event I've ever played. It was so bad. My round 2 opponent like just dropped, and this was like an Arena PT. It was crazy. Spyro's also too high on the curve. I don't think we can afford to play real 3-drops. It's also double red stuff in your Emeria's Call deck, and you have to play 4 Emeria's Call. It's like super duper mandatory, I think. But I mean, I kind of like the thought, right? It's also good to Jolted Awake. So like maybe you could build a slightly bigger build, but it just seems tough to be like a higher mana curve version of a deck that needs to get 3 creatures into play. But I don't hate the thought. We might cast an Emrakul next turn. Okay, that's bad for me, I'll say. Kind of the worst case. So they kill my Ocelot Pride, and then if they make a cat, they deal 2 damage to my other Guide of Souls, probably. Okay. 3 cards still in their hand. If they have like a 1-mana, if they have like a Fatal Push here, we might just be going to game 3. But if I can kill the Ajani, we're maybe doing all right. Untapped Blood Crypt. Fatal Push. Vomit. Vomit. Alright, pretty gross. Game 3. Alright, I think I'm gonna go like down Ornithopter. I mean, Ornithopter is just so important for the fast cage, but maybe the fast cage is just not where we want to be. I think I'm gonna play maybe 1 less Sanctifier, 1 more Ornithopter, and to play 2/2. Try that. Arena tournament's much better now. I'm sure Moto had their tournaments there as well. Oh yeah, Moto's also been awful. There's like that very famous like moment where Brian Kibler got screwed over in the mocks and like just never played another Magic Online event again. For sure. For sure. Okay, let's keep this. Obviously, this is kind of a mold of 6 with the Emrakul in our hand. We can potentially Epicure it away. But I like our ability to have Jolted Awake plus the Collector's Cage in the yard. I like having Sanctifier, especially because it's 2 power. I think I'm going to go for the Engineer first. Like, I wonder how different, like, competitive Magic would be if Brian Kibler, like, had a good tournament that day and still played Magic Online. Brian Kibler, he's just such an awesome streamer. I feel like I barely see Sanctifier. Yes, because most of the decks that could play it are play Flage instead, but this is not a Flage deck, so we are lucky enough to get to play this card. It is a very good one. I believe you're playing the White Crater if it gives flying, last click cage, wire back at Eldrazi. Okay, so you want to play that card, Cavalier of Gales, I think, if you can pitch it. So, like, we were playing it in that build because we wanted to play Force of Virtue. I'm actually still playing that in the mono-white version. Maybe we could play the mono-white version today, too. Although I think this build's is better and more exciting. So there's that. But as a general, if you can pitch it, you should play the white one so that you can get out of the hand. We have no pitch cards here, so Emrakul is just more powerful, gets through the ring, all that. My opponent is trying to cast a spell here. What is happening? These energy players. Attempted one of his deck doesn't need like Mud or Engine. Yeah, I tested Engine and it was awful. Like I never wanted to get Engine over Cage. And like I drew it. I'm like, oh, this is in my deck. Oh no, I've drawn a card I put in the deck. What a horrible mistake. I did think about Mutt some. No, challenge starts in like 30, 40 minutes. Let me see if I can just double check that we have entered with Necrobelcher, not this one. Not that I would hate that. Yeah, okay. But I wanted to play Necrobelcher in the tournament today. Moonshaker Cavalry. Yeah, okay, this is always the dialogue tree. I always think it's Cavalier, but it's Moonshaker. Okay, so my Goblin Engineer is dead. What happened with Kibler? So Kibler was playing a Mox event on Magic Online, and the tournament software was very bad and like crashed out super hard, and Kibler like kind of rage quit Magic Online forever. I think is probably the most accurate way to say that. All right, so Jolted Awake the Cage. So we could go for another Cage, or we could go for Emeria's Call. I think I'm going to go for the second Cage. I think it's pretty close. And then I'm going to go ahead and play my Epicure. And I think I just want to leave up the Cage activation. No, let's just go ahead and pump this Sentinel. If they just main phase Bowmaster my Epicure, that might be okay. Yeah, it was very bad what happened. I can't remember all the details. I think it's something like he was 7-0 and it dropped him or something like that. We'd also loot away the Emrakul with the blood token too. And it was horrible. It was certainly horrible. It was certainly rage quit worthy. Your opponent can't cast spells anywhere other than their hands. Well, I was trying to cast spells elsewhere, opponent. I guess I should have brought in some Change the Rocks for the Dranniths. Probably a misstep on my part. We still have our +1 counter machine. What role is Epicure playing in this deck? It gives you artifacts to sacrifice to Goblin Engineer. It gives you discard outlet for Emrakul. It gives you red permanent for Ajani. It's also a cheap creature for your Collector's Cage. Let me know if you need anything else. They hit a static prison here. I'm going to go ahead and counter on my Sentinel so I get to draw a card. I think I'm okay if they get rid of the Sentinel instead of my Sanctifier. This is game 3. In response to this counter on Collector's Cage, my opponent is trying to pay for Sentinel. This happened to me yesterday too, I think. I don't know if this is what... Maybe that's not what they're doing. Okay, so they're going to kill my Sanctifier, or my Sentinel in response. They're going to static prison my Sanctifier. I get to draw a card, and then they're going to get in, trigger the Pride. Not looking too good. We could draw like a Guide of Souls. Oh, they go after my Static Prison. Or sorry, my Collector's Cage. That's kind of surprising, since, like... they have the Drannith Magistrate in play. I'm going to cycle my Jolted Awake, I think. I think it's better than getting back a Sentinel. I'm going to cycle my Jolted Awake, I think. I think it's better than getting back a Sentinel. And then I'm also like... I might just hardcast Emeria's Call in this game. We'll see. Don't think that this is going to take down this game. It's Commander Knight LGS. Should I play Zombies or Knights? Knights. Like, they boarded it in. Okay, main phase Surveil. Hopefully they put Flage in their yard. Just a swamp. Draw a card. Need Gigantas? Giganta. Sanctifier locks down Giganta pretty hard. You've got your sideboard card, I've got mine. And then we have a nice play here. We usually like to play Ajani before Ocelot Pride in these spots, I guess. Yeah, Don, I actually had Clockwork Percussionist in my deck over Esper Sentinel in my testing. I didn't really like that my only sack outlet for it was Goblin Engineer, and with Emeria's Call, I had like 8 like kind of bad bricks for it. But I think Sentinel is better than that card. It is a red permanent for Ajani though, which is relevant. So it might still be something we play. All right, tick that energy down to 4 energy. We're certainly getting that Collector's Cage back at some point. All right, they have Giganta and 3 mystery cards. They've already used 2 Surveil lands. They have 3. Hopefully, I think this kind of feels like a Flage. Okay, they exile a Fatal Push. Free 5/5. So we can start attacking with our one of these two. I'm not sure if it's better to attack with the token or the Ocelot Pride. Let's see what we draw. Not the best draw. Yeah, I think I just want to attack with this. This way, it's kind of a win-win. They either let it hit and I can get some tokens, or I get to flip the Ajani. Bada with the 55 months. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much. 5 years. We're getting there, dude. We're freaking getting there. Ugh. Why do you draw a card if the Sentinel's dead? Yeah, it checks the last power. It had 2 power. It already had a counter on it, Hundar. Sorry, this is like, I'm responding question kind of late. Red. Dude, that card is so good. Might be manageable. They might like block the Ocelot Pride and Sack. I've drawn 2 Emrakuls in a row. That's the price you pay sometimes. Should I attack with all of my cats? I don't think so, because they just can like eat a bunch of them in combat pretty effectively. Yeah, we have a few longer subs. Some of the founders have been here like the entire time. Long first match. Okay, I'm kind of shocked that they blocked. Is their plan to sacrifice all of their creatures to kill my Ajani? Maybe the last card is a removal spell, but seems like they just drew the bombardment, so that seems unlikely, right? Okay, I think I should probably just deal them 6 damage here. Go to the face. I guess is their plan to kill my Epicure? Sack Giganta, kill Epicure. Okay. Tick that down to 4. All right, 2 cards in their hand. We know neither of them. I suspect one of them is a land or a Thoughtseize. Because I don't know what other card they could be holding here that is relevant. I'm shocked they didn't block and sack. Yeah. I mean, this seemed like that was their plan. I don't think it was necessarily good. We do have a Surveil land in the deck. I'm gonna go and plus my Ajani, of course. I might ultimate next turn, but I think I'm just getting in with all the cats. I don't know if I want to get in with the Sanctifier. So go block. So this is a double chump. They block 2, 3, then they take 5, 6, 7, 8. That's not quite lethal. Being able to block the cat on the backswing seems really important, so they don't get fuel for the bombardment. There's their plan. They could have blocked a Giganta and killed a Ajani with trigger on the stack. Well, they had just like 3 things to kill a Ajani, right? Don't know if they could have done that. Maybe, I mean, they could have, but then is that a winning play for them? Okay, that's a good line. Okay, so our Collector's Cages can be back online now that the Drannith Magistrate is off the field. Tick that down. Cool game. We get to Surveil, and what's cool is that untapped lands, which is every land of the deck. are good top decks, and then we have a lot of good spells that are good top decks. We have a couple of bricks still in the deck somewhere. My opponent's definitely getting flooded. Don't know why they're fetching. Conceding, I guess. I seriously doubt this game ends with a Collector's Cage. Yeah, me too. All right, that was the first match of the day. 1-0. We're up against Canister. I haven't played against Canister in a while. I'm going to keep this one, I think. Maybe could mulligan a bit more aggressively if we just think it's Amulet for sure. It does seem to be Amulet. I could potentially discard Ajani to my Epicure this turn to plan to Jolted Awake next turn. I think I'm just gonna cast the Ajani instead. We can get turn 2'd by Canister. We have some Blood Moons on the board. There's some Thraben Charms. So I'm going to be able to sacrifice 2 blood tokens here. I think I have the Kitty's Blessing. 4, 5, yeah. So I don't want to sack my blood token, so I can do that. Although it seems like we may just be a little slow here. But if Canister just like plays the ring, we can try to dig for a Collector's Cage to hopefully find an Emrakul. Have several looks. It might be better for me to go like, so I'll discard Emrakul to a blood token first. And then it might be correct for me to... Okay, so I can go Goblin Engineer, Collector's Cage, Jolted Awake, and activate. So I'm just going to Surveil, I think, instead of sacking my blood token. All right, Collector's Cage, Jolted Awake, Emrakul, Emrakul, Emrakul. Ding, ding, ding. One ring bad, cast Emrakul. Oh no, fuck. I have all 1s and 1/2, which means no Emrakul for me, right? Oops. Might be a reason to play Halo Hopper over Sentinel too. 61 months. Appreciate you. You have a 2/1. Yeah. So what do I put a counter on to have 3 different power types? I have 2 different types. I put a counter here. I have all 1s and 3s. I put a counter here. I have 2s and 1s. Should be pretty dab. Put the counter on 2/1 Cat Warrior. If we do that, we have 1, 3, and the rest are 1s. Damn. All right, I do think I'm going to cut my Jolted Awakes in this matchup. From a Sentinel too. Catfish with 18 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. Dang, I was so hyped to hit the Emrakul. That needs more 0 powers. Yeah, I'm not sure. So we have Guide of Souls, Ornithopter, Ajani as for like our varying powers. We maybe do have too many 1s. We would have to play probably Halo Hopper over Sentinel to like really get that diversity of power toughnesses. This hand is pretty good if Canister's on an Urza Saga hand, and not very good if he isn't. Although we could also maybe kill a Titan with Thraben Charm because we have double Ocelot Pride. We give this one a go, I think. Martyr Soul. We'll play Halo Hopper over Martyr Soul because it's an artifact, I think. Well, that's a nice top deck. It's really bad to play Ragavan, I think, in decks that have like no removal for it. Although it's probably a bit better in the shell. Because we have Guide of Souls. You could maybe play Ragavan. It also makes artifact too. Getting turn 2'd. Just dying with Blood Mood on turn 2. Blood Mood in my hand. Third mana. Not the whatever. Should probably have time for round number 3 before the challenge starts. We only have one basic plane, so we're gonna be fetching a Surveil Land. Although I don't know, it might. We'll see what is it. We'll make sure we're actually dead here. Because right now Canister is just dying to the Pact without me even Blood Mooning. Oh no, sorry, just does this. Plays around the Blood Moon perfectly. So it seems like I should probably Thraben Charm the Titan this turn instead. I'm not sure if it makes much sense for me to even cast this Blood Moon. Yeah, I'm just gonna play Engineer. Yeah, Farseek with the Blood Moon. I mean, casting Engineer also gives us Kitty's Blessing. But like, there's a chance that like Canister like taps out for a Titan and doesn't hold Beseiju up. Although it seems like he's very committed to it, so maybe that's not so likely. Now you shouldn't be able to haste the Titan, right? Because the Hanor Battlements is in hand. Yeah, I mean the argument is maybe drawing another Blood Moon next turn. Oh, nice. And then this is the argument for holding. Might just get got by basic forest though. Not a lot to do. I don't have a second basic plains. Could Grazer the Battlements to play. I mean, if there's a Grazer in hand, sure. No basic forest, please. Alright, you can just Titan for the basic forest. So we can kill the Titan with a big block. There's another Beseiju too. Do we just walk it? I mean, yeah. I think so. It's like way better if there's another ring over there, which is kind of likely with 10 cards in hand. So it has 2 more Explorers. All right. Well played, Canister. Yeah, Canister playing Titan so fast is very fun to watch. All right, with the if our Ocelot Pride connects, we have a turn 3 Collector's Cage activation. Don't think that's a hand we're supposed to mulligan. Be cool if this deck could combine with Kites. It's very, very bad on the mana because like the Emeria's calls are so mandatory. Your hideaways are just not that good without it. So like if you want to splash red, I don't think you can afford to play many, if any, Windbrisk Kites. You could maybe play like one over like the Arena of Glory. Maybe you could get a second in there. So now with this Jolted Awake, we could somewhat comfortably jam the Collector's Cage. But it looks like they have the push. I think we'll still jam the Collector's Cage. With double Emeria's Call in my hand, I think I'm just going to get my Mountain. Alright, then take a Cage to spin again. So any 1 mana creature allows us to cage. Although we are only caging into cage, I guess. But there we go. And we're just going to get that second counter on the Sentinel here. Okay, second frog. So I'm going to do a little Force of Negation check, I guess. Nice. So this should be GG because we're going to get to copy the Angel tokens with Ocelot Pride here. Remember that the Emeria's Call gives everything besides the Angels indestructible. So we kind of have a free make them discard a card here. Gain 2 life. Angels in the outfield. Your turn. Alright, game 2. Alright, so I'm just bringing in the Chain to the Rocks in this matchup. Played against it once last night. Still not 100% sure on sideboard plans. I think I want to trim an Ornithopter. Let's trim an Epicure too. Maybe we could trim an Emrakul too. I'm gonna trim an Emrakul, I think. I just want to try it. Get the vibe. There's no room for White Land Seminole Cage. You could play it like one over the Arena of Glory, maybe, but it's just very tough on the mana, and you don't want to play a lot of tap lands, and Engineer gives you redundancy to your hideaways anyways. It's also like Hideaway 4 instead of Hideaway 5, which is not the biggest thing. But yeah, I do have an updated version of the mono white build you could maybe play in between rounds of the challenge today. We have the wrong battle in the sideboard somehow. This is supposed to be Invasion of Gobakhan. I don't know how Invasion of Theros got in. But I was playing with this card some last night. It was pretty good. It got Force of Negations once. It was pretty good against the Jeskai deck. I brought it against Belcher where it got Force of Negation. But for some reason I have the wrong one in this build. It might just be because in the mono white list I had it and then I just grabbed the wrong one manually. This was the mono white list is looking at like at the moment. This build wants to play Moonshaker over Emrakul so you can pitch it to Force of Virtue. But I was just really hating the tap lands last night too, which is part of the reason to play this today. Gonna lead on Sentinel, despite it being a little bit worse against Bowmaster. Thanks, Hardest. Yeah, challenge is about to start. Starts about 6 minutes. Playing the Necrobelcher deck. Come for the deck, stay for the hair, hell yeah. Yeah, been working out a lot, been changing my hairstyle, been feeling good. Although I've also been kind of sick. Not too bad. Okay, so we're 2-1 in the league. And it is good against combo, yeah. Which I think makes it main deckable. It's a combo for sure, I would think. Okay, let's keep this. Let's put back probably the second engineer. I'll be kind of upset if my Emeria's call gets thoughts used, but I need to go Sacred Foundry Epicure so I can curve out. And it's nice that I can Jolted Awake my Collector's Cage if my engineer dies, which is kind of the whole deck, I guess. Wins Mono Black Green Belcher. I tried to build Elves Belcher once, and it did not really go. Second Guide of Souls. Mardu again. Why Mardu all of a sudden feels more popular than Boros? Especially play against Boros in the challenge. What happened that people were just all over Mardu? Like again. You would think like not that much has changed. So I guess we take a second Ajani to try to flip the first one. Is it Mardu better than the Energy Mirror? Maybe I'm wrong. Well, doesn't Mardu play less rings? I would just think that the build that plays more rings is better in the mirror. But I don't know, like surely someone in the chat is like playing Mardu. Like what's going on? Blood Moon less good? Maybe. It'd be worth revisiting Just Sky Wizards, or is stock Just Sky just better? I have spent a little bit of time revisiting Wizards. I think stock Just Sky is for the most part better though. Okay, so we're down to 10. But then we get to go Johnny, counter on the Sentinel, cast another Ajani, keep one of them. I could unearth Ajani, I could go to 8, unearth Ajani, and plus my Ajani. I think I'm just going to kill this Guide of Souls instead. And get in for 3. Not quite as good as casting an Emrakul or Emeria's Call or another Collector's Cage, but we'll take it. There's an Amped Raptor hitting their own Ajani. Which is pretty bad for me, I guess. And we're dead. Dude, we've been getting slaughtered by bombardments. Alright, so we are down a game against Mardu. We did beat Mardu earlier today. I'm going to bring in the Sanctifiers again. Last time I trimmed an Ornithopter, a Sentinel, and an Ocelot Pride, and I don't know how I felt about that. I think I'm going to trim an Epicure instead of the second Pride. I think Guide Pride is a big plan for us. But I'm going to be really in on Sanctifiers this time. And then I probably do want... Do I want Change the Rocks also? I'm a bit worried about my like creature count if I do that. Let's try it. Actually, I think I'm just going to try cutting all the Epicures and sell 4 Ornithopter. Ornithopter is just so important to combo. Yeah, but this way the Change the Rocks can help us beat. I guess we could also bring in. We could play Thraben Charm over the Change the Rocks so we can deal with bombardment maybe. That might be better. Okay, so this hand is not great. But we have, yeah, I think I'm gonna mulligan. Just seems like most of our 6-card hands will be better, and this hand is better. I'm gonna put back an Emeria's Call. I think I want to lead on the Sentinel so that we can, if they're going to use a removal spell on turn 1, we're either going to get a card or we're going to successfully guide in Pride. Wow, we drew a Cage too. It's pretty good. Let me attack for 1. I really wish there was one additional way to lure Emrakul, especially if Epicure gets boarded out. I mean, yeah, there's nothing good. There's, you know, Epicure is a lot better than everything else. Okay, so we do get our card, but we don't get our life point. I looked very extensively, and there's just like not really good options, I think. I think we attack with just the Ocelot Pride. Maybe I should have played Cage first. Because they can kill Sentinel and then double block. They do kill just the Pride here. It's gonna get a Plains this time. Pass back. They have the Flage, which is pretty good against my line, I suppose. The Goblin Engineer can sometimes, you can like get back Esper Sentinel. Do I want to Entomb Ornithopter? I feel like I don't know. I think I have 2 cages. Yeah, Ornithopter might be a better type to get. But yeah, what you can do is you can go activate Collector's Cage. In response to Collector's Cage, activate Goblin Engineer to get back Ornithopter, and then you can meet the Collector's Cage requirements. So if our Engineer lives and we draw any creature, we're chilling. But Engineer living is maybe going to be tough. They hit an Ocelot Pride off their Raptor, 3 cards in hand after that. They Thraben Charm my Engineer, which is bad news. Yeah, been pretty picked apart here, unfortunately. Looks like we're going to be 1-1 against Mardu in this league. Kind of tough to get 3 creatures in play in time before we die to the Flage and all this. We should be able to finish up this league and then before round 2 of the challenge starts. Yeah, plenty of time. Meet with the 22 months. Thank you. Welcome back. All right. I think I'm just going to pack it in here. They can escape Flage next turn. Been thinking about standard a little bit. Been thinking about limited some. Image 2 had more generically powerful card commits to Image 3's more archetype specific limited decks. I actually disagree with that a lot. I said for a long time that Image 3 was just bluntly more powerful than Image 2. I still think that. I still think Image 3 is just overall stronger than Image 2. Generic cards and synergy cards. I think that people just have this like impression. I mean, Image 2 is a very powerful set too, but Image 3 is stronger. And I don't even really think it's like close. If I'm going to be honest, it's not like super far away, but yeah, I've heard Standard is great. I'm not very interested in Pioneer at the moment now that they killed the RC season. I don't know how brewable is Standard. Like, is this a format we can like learn and play maybe? Yeah, I've heard good things about Duskborn Limited. I need to prep for like the sealed event. Perhaps the power spike that Image 2 brought was bigger than the power spike that Image 3 brought. Maybe. That doesn't exactly change the fact that Image 3 is stronger than Image 2, but yeah, you could probably argue that. Extremely brewable, cool. Yeah, although I guess the Worlds, but yeah, that might change after Worlds in 2 weeks. They had a static prison off the Raptor. Yeah, I'm a fan of Ash. Sorry, I didn't mean to sack the blood token, of course. We need to get this cage in play. And there's our Emrakul. I think I'm just gonna play this tapped. If we can find an Ornithopter, that would be very helpful. This is the challenge. Or sorry, this is the league. We're playing Necro in the challenge. It's in the title. What are the Overlords doing in Standard? I think you could like up the Beanstalk with them. I would like to see you play it untapped. You wanted me to Emeria's Call here? And put a counter on the Epicure? Second Pride. Honestly, double Pride Emrakul might not be enough here. The mean decks are good, but so slow. I see. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really watched much Standard. I am kind of open to messing around with it. Alright, so best draw is Ornithopter. Draw another copy of Ocelot Pride. I'm going to dig for Ornithopter to win. Okay, or to cast Emrakul. Not quite that lucky. Go into game 2. Alright, so we're going to bring in the Sanctifiers and the Chain to the Rocks again. Very important to have some answers to Drannith Magistrate. Could maybe Thraben Charm is better than Chain. The instant speed's really nice, and it also gets Bombardment, which has been a thorn in our side today. So let's try that. Sentinel much better against Boros than Bardu too. The window with all the players in standings. How did you pull it up? I don't know. I just go to the tournament scene. It's right here. I don't know if you're like stuck in the game. Just hit Alt Tab. It should be there for you. Would I play on Moto or Arena? I don't know. Is Standard like playable on Magic Online? Like, is it? I prefer the league structure. I prefer to not have to like buy a million Standard cards. But also, like, maybe Standard players mostly watch on Arena. I think it's, with us boarding out the Epicures, we don't need to fetch a lot of red. Yeah, I might spend some time this weekend just exploring Standard. Oh, no attacks? Okay. Well, that makes things easier. What's really frustrating Modern is Wizards could freshen things that would BNR, but stick to them schedule. Yeah, I agree that like the BNR schedule is kind of killing organized play, or not killing organized play, but killing like hype for formats. It just feels like you're stuck with like lame duck formats for months at a time. Like the Nadu ban was like how long it took them to ban Nadu was like such an embarrassment, and they're just like for some reason hard committed to this structure. Doesn't really make any sense to me. That being said, I'm probably going to cast an Emrakul soon. Is Modern a lame duck area? I don't know. Maybe I'm just dooming a little bit, but I'm having fun with some stuff. It's not like I'm just not having any fun, but I just feel like I've been enjoying Modern less this week than like the 2 weeks before. So I need to put a counter here so any 1 mana creature will let me Emrakul. I've been liking Goblin Engineer. It's very good paired with Jolted Awake. I casted Emrakul. And we can also Collector's Cage next turn, too. But don't people complain about their deck getting banned out of nowhere, so the schedule bans mean you know when something might get banned? I mean, that is the argument, and obviously some people prefer the scheduled bans, but, like, you know, it is kind of a nightmare when you have something like Nadu, a card that you just know is going to get banned, you know is going to be out of the format, but it's just in here for like the longest time. I would say it's even like a lot worse for for the game to have like to have this lame duck format, you know. Like I guess we just kill all their permanents and kill them, huh? Like it was just so dumb too. That like the MH2 was so hype. Everyone was so excited. And then it's like so clear that Nadu needs a ban, and they waited 2 months, a month, I think a month and a half for them to ban it. It was just, and it killed all of the hype. It was so bad. Let's check out the challenge though. I do like this Necro deck. This Necro deck is fun. Some stuff has been fun. Well, I'm definitely clicking the keep button. Opponent kept 7. Untap Sacred Foundry. 2 Ocelot Prides walk into a bar. Me drawing a second Ornithopter is pretty interesting. I'm just trying to think if I would block here. I think I want to save these in hand to trigger Guide of Souls if I draw Guide of Souls. The downside is losing 1 life point to this Ocelot Pride here. I think they did it to not have another emergency ban on the list, which is a reason. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's not. Again, I think I've said this a couple times now, but I understand the reasoning. I know why they've done what they did. I just don't think it's a good way to structure your organized play or your format. I think it would be better to just do as needed bans, and you could ban things as it's needed. And also, like, one like really unintended effect of the scheduled bans is people get crazy around ban season time. People lose their freaking minds when it's ban time. There's so much agenda posting and dooming and screaming and complaining. It is not fun. I'm very tired of this this environment, you know. So Dead Discharge, where we can Jolted Awake our Collector's Cage. If we draw land, we can Jolted Awake Cage and Pride. Gonna stay all the way at 14 too, for now at least. They're gonna get another cat. And so are we. So I can't Jolted Awake the Cage and activate it this turn. So I think I'm just gonna get back Goblin Engineer. And if it dies, that's okay, we have another one. But we want to get another Collector's Cage, so that way we can sack the first cage to the second. And just kind of loop them. And if they kill the engineer, that's okay, because we have enough creatures to do our thing. Wadi Fathom with the 6 months. Thank you, welcome back. Appreciate you. To be fair, they got clowned for making announcements about announcements. I mean, this is the problem too, is that like they're going, like, the player base is going to complain no matter what they do. I understand this dynamic. I definitely get it. But that doesn't mean like the structure is worse or is not worse, in my opinion. Okay, block. Go down to 13. They have 1 card in their hand. Them having 2 more removal spells is kind of tough. The quad removal spell draw is good against us always. Okay, I think we just cast the cage this turn. Okay, Found Emrakul's nice. Weekend, Emrakul next turn. We can Jolted Awake. Oh, I guess so, because we have 2 Ornithopters. It gets a little... Yeah, we have to wait 2 turns. Not under the most pressure right now, though. Probably going to pay there, right? All right? 2 cards in their hand. Theoretically, we're taking 2, and I think they have Kitty's Blessing. Ornithopter is getting us a lot of life here. All right, one of their 2 cards is an Aether Hub. They don't Giganta in hand. Probably just forgetting about Giganta. Poor Giganta, always so forgotten about. Is there any footage of the Shifting Woodland Essence Relay Clock of Omen instead of just statue? There might be. I mean, we have played it, and are you just like looking to understand how the combo works? We might have a command for that. All right, the 5th removal spell has been cast. But now I get to kill their Ocelot Pride, maybe. Unless they have the 6th removal spell. And then any creature or Jolted Awake lets us Emrakul if they don't have one. Yeah. Wake up, Goblin, wake up. Alright, so they play a top Sacred Foundry. They forget about Giganta. We could have had a 5/5 thrown at us this turn, by the way. In addition to the Bolt, and they just forgot about it. Instead, we draw another Collector's Cage. And they just kill me with Giganta. I've been complaining a lot today, guys. Maybe more than I mean to, but I don't know. Like we just have lost this game because Giganta is legal. Maybe we lose the game anyways, but we'd at least get one more draw with a lot of outs to cast some Emrakuls. Ajani is a win. I think any creature is, right. Yeah, this is the 4th cage also. I guess I should have entombed that instead of the Sentinel. So I mean, I guess you're saying I can still win with Ajani, right? Do I put a counter on the Ornithopter? I think I do, right? Yeah, I think it's just Ajani. Exactly. Yeah, maybe 1, but I had a Dragon Engine that was in the deck the other day. Okay, so 2-0, or I guess 2-1 into 2-3. Not the best. We're still 1-0 in the challenge. 3 matches in progress. Okay, so let's maybe get a poll going for what the next league deck y'all want to see.